This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I got Jimmy Newson on the line, and we're going to be talking about content marketing. Now, I really like this guy. He's up in New York, and he's got this really big personality. I was sitting there talking to him before the show. He tells me he's an ambivert. I said, like, what the hell is an ambivert? He says, well, I'm really an introvert. Like I'm really shy most of the time. He says, but when I start talking about this subject that I love, he says, I just open up. And I said, well, that's kind of cool because you don't burn out. Like you only turn on high when it's time. And then when the time is over, you like retreat back into like peace and calm and quiet. Unlike people like me who are burning the candle at both ends all the time, running their mouth and their everything, and then about 5:30 in the evening, I just pass out and fall over. So we're going to be talking about content marketing. I don't know what you think your business is, but if you're in business, you better be a marketer. You ain't going to be in business very long. Am I right, Jimmy?
You're absolutely positively correct.
Okay, so before we kick off, and you be thinking about this, I need the bullet points of how Jimmy Newson got to be sitting in this chair right now, so we can catch up with who exactly you are and where you're from and what kind of made you up, But I got to pay homage here to my sponsor. I would like for you guys to go over and visit taxfreefuture.com. If you do not have a self-directed retirement plan that is tax deferred or tax free, there's this huge tool that's missing out of your tool belt, and it's crazy that you don't have this at your disposal. So please go to taxfreefuture.com. There's 37 little video vignettes that tell you all about why and how and because, and you should go over there and check it out. It'll change your life, change mine. Taxfreefuture.com, because you will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you what they're not telling you, and then we're going to tell you why they're not telling it to you, and you're going to see exactly why I'm so high on taxfreefuture.com. All right, you guys, got that out of the way. So Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you come from? What molded you?
All right. So I am a mutt. I've been all over the place. So
A mutt. Hey, me too.
So I ended up in New York by way of Massachusetts, Indiana, Florida. So went to school for music and video business. I've been in the music industry before I went 100% marketing. Left the music industry about 2005. Started getting, really had to look at what exactly was something I could control that didn't involve a lot of people. And what ended up happening was, as I looked at it, I go content. Because when you control the content, you can control the story, you can control the narrative, and you can control a lot of aspects within that. So video was pretty much my introduction into leveraging content, which gave me or whoever I was dealing with a voice to bypass a lot of people and get to the end user. So that was the initial start. So as I was producing video content, back then it was a lot more expensive than it is today. I would produce content for a business or a high level individual. I'd come back 6 months later trying to sell another video, and they're like, oh, well, we don't want to do a video because it didn't work. And I go, what do you mean it didn't work? They go, well, we threw it on YouTube. It got 8 views and 2 thumbs up. And I'm going, well, what did you do with the video? They go, well, we put it on YouTube. And I go, all right. So I go,
we threw it in an ocean.
Yeah, I'm like, and it didn't do, and I go, so let me ask you a question. I go, so if I was to give you 100 very pretty looking business cards or postcards, and I go, here's your 100 postcards, and you put them at the edge of your desk, and I go, or people, they go, well, that's ridiculous. Why did I sit them at my desk? No one's going to find it. I go, exactly. That's exactly what you did to the video. You put it at the edge of this spot. I go, the video, as any other tool, is a tool. You still have to do something with that tool. It can only, that's the purpose of it. So it doesn't matter if it's video, blogs, social media posts, it has to have a purpose. And when it has a purpose, now you got to put that purpose into motion. You got to add things around it to help support it and give it enough opportunities to live, grow, and fly. And
yeah, Jimmy said, hey, I made a great video. You just suck at marketing.
Exactly. And then in 2014, I started working on a project actually in your neck of the woods. It was a documentary project, and we're content creating again And then at this point, we started to engage marketing companies, and every single marketing company failed in one way or another. They didn't either ask the right questions. They didn't, we hired one company that just started marketing our product without even talking to us. And I'm going, how do you do that? And like, they were just making the most ridiculous mistakes. And that's what made me go, I need to go more in marketing. And as I started to go more into marketing, I started understanding this thing called inbound marketing, which is what I am now, an inbound marketing consultant and an inbound sales consultant, because they work hand in hand with each other. Yep,
Tell us what inbound marketing is. What is that?
Sure. Inbound marketing is a technique of leveraging content for your products and services to draw people to you. So inbound versus outbound, where you're cold calling people, you're
mailing out or
emailing and all this stuff. Inbound is when you're leveraging content to attract the right people. And it's actually, it could be a bit difficult, but at the end of the day, it's actually a better system. It's easier and it's scalable. And that's really the biggest thing, because you're basing it on the fact that you're leveraging social media, search engine optimization, you're leveraging content. When people are searching online, they're searching for solutions. The key for you is to make sure that you have content in place, what we call content in the right place at the right time for the right person. That's inbound marketing.
Yeah, and it's kind of a soft sell too. It's not in your, no one wants to listen to a sales pitch, right? It's got to have some innate value, hence the word content, right? I mean, everything has a content. It's whether is this the kind of content that's desired, or they're going to throw away or turn off within the first 10 or 15 seconds. So, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the content has to be helpful. So it's not about an advert. It's not about putting out something and saying how great you are. The key is you have to position your products or services based on the problems or the goals of the end user.
Cool. So, it's a super fun science. It's a complicated science. It's not all on the surface. Let's don't get political at all, but they were saying that Google has the ability to throw an election if it put everything behind it. And it said, like, even just putting up the words on the homepage, "Go vote," in the Google colors could sway an election. It's like, well, why would "Go vote"? That, it seems neutral, but it's not neutral, because they know the numbers behind how many people hit that page. And if X of them vote one way by 3/4 and only 25% of them vote another way, then that "go vote" can push. Maybe this is a horrible example given the times, but what I'm saying is, content marketing and marketing in the digital age is way more complicated than you might know, but because it's a lot to do with about the numbers behind you, right? And so much more than what you just see on the surface. Am I going off on a tangent out in left field?
No, there's a lot of things that definitely play in. The main thing when it comes to content marketing, and if you want to be specific about your business company, is really, first thing is really being very, very clear on who you're trying to attract. So we call them those buyer personas. Avatar, some people call. So the more you understand your avatar, your buyer persona, the better opportunities you have to make sure that you're attracting the right type of people that at the end of the day will bond with your message. So like you said, it's definitely a soft sell. Especially, this works great for those who don't want to sell, which are the majority of the people. Okay,
so that's the first thing. What's the second thing?
After that, then there has to be alignment. So it's one thing to understand that I'm going after this type of person. And when it comes to personas, the two most important things I look for are what are their goals and what are their challenges or their problems? Because regardless of their psychographics and their demographics, everybody, I know what age groups I'm going after. I know if it's female or male or both. I understand that they have kids, they have this. At the end of the day, what are they struggling with? What are they struggling with? And when you're able to talk about that, now you're talking about an emotional connection. And people make decisions on emotional situations, emotional triggers. So when you're able to do that, you're able to capture their attention quicker and then start to lead with the project. Never, ever talking about yourself, but either addressing the problem or addressing the solution to the problem. Let them now come to the conclusion that because you provided this information to them, you are an authority. You're building your trust with them. You're building your authority with them. You're building a relationship with them where they're starting to see you as someone that's not necessarily selling them, but somebody that's there to help them.
And you're an expert in the field. So I got who you are. The first step, in your content is define who you are. You decide who you are. What's your avatar? And then 2 is alignment. And I'm still a little shaky on alignment. Is that alignment mean define the people that have the problem that you can solve?
Well, go a little deeper. The alignment at that point is, at the top of it is the person that you're trying to help. In the middle is the problem that they're having. At the bottom is your product or service that totally aligns with that. So if they follow that path, the obvious answer is your product or service. So a prime example, I'm talking about t-shirts and the different types of cool t-shirts. And then I drive you to my website and I sell mostly shoes. I'm still selling apparel, but the alignment's off. And people will do that. So that's the very drastic change but it brings home a point that goes, if I'm talking about t-shirts and then I give you some example of t-shirts and then I send you to my site and I got shoes and hats and long shirts. Now they're going, okay, I just want a t-shirt. So sell them the t-shirt. Then after they've made the commitment, now you can start talking about all these other things. At the end of the day, people meet you. They go, hey, how you doing? They go, how you doing? And they go, so what do you do? Oh, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. And they go, whoa. This is the problem I'm having. So I go, so you talk to them, what's your problem? Well, I have this. Talk about that problem. Get in detail, get deep on that problem, offer solutions on that problem. And at the end of the day, they walk away from that conversation going, wow, that really helped. I understand. I think I want to engage with that more. You engage. Now we start the relationship. So the alignment is stay on focus on the conversation that you're having at that particular moment with that person.
Really good advice. So define who you are and define who your audience is. Then define the problem that you can help with, and then show them how you have a solution for the problem.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but you do that, you're going to win. And this can be done at scale once you're able to automate this leveraging tools. So the key is you should never really have to communicate with someone physically until they get close to what we call the bottom of the funnel, where now human intervention probably has to be a part of the process. Now, if you're selling a low ticket item like a tennis shoe or a shirt or a hat, there's little. I have a company that I have that I've probably spoken to one client out of the 2 years the company has been running. But then I have high-end services that every time that no one's going to spend $1,000 without some type of communication process. So you have to know your product to determine, when do I need to get involved physically versus letting the tools do all the heavy lifting for me.
Yeah, kind of a sift. And then when it comes to the one-on-one contact, then have them gone through the regimen, kind of proven themselves as a serious contender who deserves some real
your time. Yeah.
Time. So you have this. I thought this digital book that you want to give away is pretty intriguing. 30 greatest lead generation tricks, tips, tricks, and ideas.
Yes.
I've been struggling with that. I don't know why. 30 greatest lead generations tips.
Now I can't even say it.
I said trips. That's my problem. I wrote trips and I meant tips. So
okay.
30 greatest lead generations tips, tricks, and ideas. Hey. Yeah. And man, that's got to be a valuable. I mean, if you just gave away 10, you're giving away 30. I'm sure you have some great stuff there. But give us an idea of one or two of these tricks or tips or hints.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things. It's not necessarily about trying to be original. It's about trying to find things that work. So tips and trips could be. I always say when you're trying to generate leads online, you got two things you have to solve. You either solving a traffic problem or a conversion problem. So, if you're getting traffic and they're hitting the brick wall and no one's converting, you got a conversion problem. If you don't even have traffic, then you don't have either. So, one is about creating the right type of language to get people to the page. So there are definitely ways that you look at, framing, say, an offer, whether it's a lead magnet, whether it's a free consultation. I hate things like, hey, sign up for my newsletter and we're going to email you all the time. It's just not valuable enough for someone to want to give the email. You got to give them something that they want, but you can't give them what they want if you still have not defined who it is you're trying to attract. So these tools really teach you how to dial in on, certain offers, but the offers are useless if you don't have certain foundations in place.
Yeah, I think that's cool. So worry about traffic first, and then immediately when you start getting traffic, switch your focus to conversion.
Yep.
And that's the order of things. If you have 100% for conversion, but you only got one person get through the funnel.
Not so good.
I mean, you can say you have 100% conversion, but you're going to go broke. You know?
And the key thing here is a lot of people look at this as a set it and forget it. And that's basically the worst thing you could possibly do. You have to constantly monitor the system until you optimize it to the point where you go, I can't really optimize this anymore. I think, if you want to talk about a starting point, you may have a product. I do this thing. I have a slide when I do live talks, and I'm selling fire. So here's how this goes. So this is how you look at when you're creating content: one problem, one solution, one call to action. So fire, if I try to sell you fire, I got to determine how many different problems does fire solve. Well, fire actually for me solves 4 problems. Problem number 1, it solves the ability for you to heat a house. Problem number 2, it solves the ability for you to heat food. Problem number 3, it solves the ability for you to walk in the dark. And problem 4, if you're an entrepreneur like us, it solves the ability to light a fire under your butt and get you moving. People usually like that one. So now you got 4 different problems. So you got 4 different types of people that you can talk to. So if you can develop a system for each one of those independently, you now have 4 different doorways into your business. Okay. And when you have 4 different doorways into your business, you got 4 times the opportunity to drive more traffic, because now you can talk to people who just want to heat food with fire. That's one conversation. Now with the same fire, you can talk to someone that just wants to talk about heating their home and keeping their family warm at night. The third one is, how do you not get salmonella? Cook the food. I don't cook that much. So I hope that's a correct analogy, but you get the point. The point is, even with one product, you've got so many different opportunities. Don't try to talk about all of them. Talk about one of them specifically and target it towards someone that fits that particular demographic persona and whatnot.
That's super powerful what you're just now saying. Like, I even had a revelation when you're saying that, don't heap a bunch of information on everybody. Heap the right, place the right information in front of the right people, and just in a bite-sized bit what they're looking for. And that makes perfect sense. And then I suppose you could take the 4 or 5 individual ways you're going to sell this product and figure out which one converts the best, and then drop
now you got it
and magnify and put all the money into the one that's really doing it.
Now you're 80-20 in it.
Yeah, 80-20 it. Yeah. Until it gets saturated, and then move down to the second best one, right?
Yep. And when I hit this with people with this, they usually get a little overwhelmed. And I usually go, it's not about overwhelm. Figure out I always say, figure out what's the easiest thing you can sell with your eyes closed in your sleep, and start there. So don't look at all your products and go, oh, well, I sell 18 things. Don't worry about that. Pick one and start. Build a funnel or a system or whatever you need to build around that one thing and get good at it. Because the cool thing about it is it's a repeatable process. So once you get good at it, all you're going to do is take that entire system funnel, lift it up, and put it on another open space, and then plug and play with either the same product from a different viewpoint, with a different persona, and just repeat it. But now you have a blueprint to follow, and you can do that. So even if it takes you 2 months to just do one funnel, now the next one, it'll take you half the time. You've done all the initial work. All you got to do is now monitor it and see how well it's doing, and make slight tweaks to it occasionally through A/B testing.
So this doesn't matter what you're selling, right? So tell me, how long have you been in this business?
Ooh, well, I mean, I think I've always considered myself a marketer. I mean, I've been in business for over 27 years. I just look very, very young, you know.
You look young. How are you doing that? Maybe you need to be selling some of whatever that is.
If I can figure out how to get it out of me, then yeah, definitely. But I've been in deep in, I say I've been deep in the marketing world since 2010, you know, where I really took it seriously. And I'm an avid learner. So, I mean, I think whatever you do, there's just always so much more you can learn, you know, so on conferences and events and conversations like this, you know, where, you know, I've probably grown more in the last few years, I should say, than I have before, because now I'm very clear on what I do, who I help, and how I help them, you
Well,
know,
let's talk
so
about that. Who have you been helping lately? What kind of companies?
well, I've worked with all types of companies, from Fortune 500 companies to mom and pop shops. So right now I'm working on a project. I just brought on the National Speakers Association to work with them on a project. But at the same time, I just brought on a small dance studio in Manhattan that just wants to, you know, get their classes out there and promote. So, you know, and the cool thing about inbound marketing, and I know we hadn't talked much about it, is inbound. Reason why I love inbound marketing so much is because it encompasses every possible thing you could possibly do with your business online, from SEO to paid advertisements to landing pages, to CRMs to email marketing campaigns. Everything fits somewhere. And when you look at it from an inbound marketing standpoint, you're able to diagnose any type of business and really figure out what's not only what's there, but more importantly, what's missing, and how do we seal up this funnel and make it work better. So, you know, I've done work with the Grammys, I've done work with People Magazine, and like I said, then I've done work with plumbers and chiropractors, and, you know, it doesn't matter. What changes is always what their business is, but what doesn't change is who are their customers. So it's funny, I was at a conference yesterday, and somebody asked the gentleman on stage, he goes, how did you change when you were dealing with different people, with different clients? He goes, I didn't change at all. Because at the end of the day, I just want to know who their people are and how do I help them get to their people. So it doesn't matter if they make $100 million a year as a company, or if they're just starting out. You need to know what you're selling and who does it help. And once you know those two things, everything else, now it's just a matter of what tools do you have and how can we get there as fast as possible by,
Well,
of course, still leveraging the best practices.
and they have huge databases now where it's easier to put people in categories now than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
and hopefully, well, I mean, I can't really think of a situation right now where you couldn't find the category that you need. Although sometimes it's a little bit, I mean, sometimes there's public lists and sometimes there's lists that you got to go out and figure out some other way.
Sure.
Public easier, or someplace where there's data. But so, you know, these funnels, you can also, when you're looking through these funnels, from my experience, and
Mm-hmm.
make no mistake, this podcast is an outgoing, you know what I mean, outbound marketing. It's
Mm-hmm.
make no mistake, it's outbound marketing for me and the things that I do, you know, and for the people that I talk to. We go out into the world, and it's just one little tiny piece, you know, that we get content for and from. Like you can get a lot of content from something like this because we talk for sometimes 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes every time.
Mm-hmm.
But those funnels, you can actually tell where people drop off. You know, they're going through a process on the way to the order page. You can see how long they hung, how far they scrolled down. You can pick up a lot of data just about the people that are coming in and figure out where your message is broken, right?
Yep. And that's the beauty of digital marketing, because unlike traditional marketing, you can't do that. And that's why I only focus on digital, because of the fact that I can pretty much show you ROI and show you where things are happening. And, you know, when you have that blueprint, you have that data, it's so much easier to quantify something or prove a point, or, you know, or make changes that actually do help improve the results that you're looking for.
Yeah. So is there a way to talk about budget for people who are, I mean, from a mom and pop? I know it's probably different for the New York Times to mom and pop, but is there a way to talk about budget? How much, if I wanted to start a campaign to to help find more houses that I could buy,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of budget would I have to consider if I'm just trying to buy it in one town? You know, that I don't want to be nationwide. I don't want to be home investors. I don't want to be across the continent. I just I need the people in my hometown to know that if they got a situational property or they are in a situation and real estate, a sale of a piece of real estate could solve that situation,
Mm-hmm.
that would you consider me as a phone call?
Sure. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I have clients that spend $200 a month, and let's just say the ad spend only, because there's two sides. There's as far as hiring a consultant or an agency or freelancer is their fee. So whatever that might be. And then there's the budget that you need to determine. And the budget is usually set by how many leads would you like to get on a monthly or weekly basis. And so let's take two sides of it. We have social media and we have paid ads. So Google ads. Google ads is search, and we call, and the social media is kind of a passive. Search means they're looking for a solution. The passive means they're just scrolling and they happen to just see your ad and doesn't click with them at the moment they see it. So we have those two options. So first of all, we look at the product. Is the product, if you're a plumber and your pipes, say you're in a house and your pipes burst, well, you're not going to go to social media and scroll and hope to find an ad. You're going to go to Google. That's an immediate, you know. But if you're looking at maybe next year doing a renovation of one of your rooms, you might see a social media ad that says, "Hey, considering re-renovating for the spring." You know, so we have to determine first of all which platform is better based on your offer and the product. Once we do that, then we can look at data that says typically for this industry, because you can even do a search that goes, you know, what is the average cost to advertise on Google for this industry? You know, and you can get the average cost per click for doing a specific type of say home improvement will cost you $3. And so let's use $3. So it will cost you $3 per click. That means every time someone clicks on your ad, it's going to cost you $3. So if you go, I want at least 50 ads a month, well, you got to go 50 times 3. That's your budget is now $150 a month. You know, so not the people. So you may get 2,000 impressions. You don't pay for the impressions. You pay for that click. And the key thing here is Google considers a good click-through rate at 2%. Out of 100, 2%. And people go, well, that's relatively low. I go, how many times have you clicked on an ad just to click on it? Most people don't click on the ad. They go straight down to the organic search. So the people who actually click on the actual ad are usually people that are in pain and they're trying to figure out the fastest way to get out of it. That's why it's such a valuable 2%. You know, and so at the end of the day, if I can say you're going to get at least 30 leads or 50 leads a month at $3, and your budget has to be a minimum of $150, now you know I should get at least that many. Now the question is, how many can you close if they actually connect with you? So you get 50 clicks, and say out of the 50, 10 people call you. Out of the 10 people that call you, maybe 2 people close, and if a client's lifetime value or even that initial sale is say $500 or $1,000, well, you just made back your budget off of one click out of the 50 that click through. So these are kind of like our initial budget. So there's definitely a little bit of front end math that has to happen to kind of figure out what should be a good budget based on your industry. But once you know that, then now you can move forward and feel confident that, all right, even if I haven't done this before, this is kind of the blueprint I'm going to initially follow until I actually get the real data.
Yeah, so I kind of see two different things there. Like for the people that have an immediate problem, or what am I trying to say here? Like the pay-per-click, you could probably size up a lot faster than just the advertisements that are popping up on the sidebar, because those got to be in front of people for a long time, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like radio. If you're going to get into radio advertising for 2 weeks, just don't even do it. You have to do radio advertising for like 6 to 8 months minimum, and be really rather consistent on a daily basis, working days. And I see some of these ads are like that. You have to go in for the long haul. Other ads you can kind of size up. Look, I got 1,000 exposures. It only got me 3 clicks. I need to change my message. Yes. And that can happen in one day, right? or do you prefer to spread it out at least over 5 days so that because Mondays are different advertising days than Wednesdays and Fridays, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So,
What I typically do is we do it on a monthly. So so we may come up with we'll go, look, I want to spend $200 a month on ad spends on, say, Google Ads. We'll use that, for example. And I'll go, okay, let's figure out so certain keywords have different values price wise. So sometimes we'll try to find keywords that are cheaper. So you can say a keyword phrase, New York plumber in New York. Those are two different keywords. They actually have two different values. So depending on how I position it, I can probably get you a better bang for your buck. And I'm just saying, I don't know this without looking at my data, for a plumber in New York versus New York plumber. So I'm going, this is the keyword I'm going to try to mass target because I can get this at a better price, but then I still will add other keywords because until I start to see the data, there's a lot of structure going on in the back end.
So let me just say this. Let me put it a different way, layman term kind of thing. There's this New York plumber is hit so often, it has a very high price, and there's tens of thousands of people hitting this, say, a week. Well, I just need an extra 20 customers a month, to make my whole life better. I don't need to pay the top dollar for the top one because plumber in New York is getting half as many hits, but they're still valuable hits. I don't have to pay as much for it. I'm just trying to pick up an extra 10 or 20 people, so why do I don't need to pay and compete with the very expensive AdWord if there's enough potential in some lesser AdWords. Did I say it right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, there's the good thing about this is there's so many different ways that you can go about doing this. I have a client now that we run both Google ads and Facebook ads, and it's for what we call the middle of the funnel. So it's an ebook about engaging in their industry. So now, and it's doing well actually on both platforms, and that's sometimes not that it's unique, but but sometimes you do better on one versus the other. But they're doing very well on both of them. So so we run it on both because there's the ROI on both is paying for the campaigns. So we're excited about that. But yeah, it's visual. It has to, if it's on social media, it has to be some level of visual content for it. But social media may be where the majority of your customers live, especially if you're dealing with a younger demographic. You might have more success there because, you want to try to figure out what's the frequency for an ad to show up in someone's feed, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, and you can figure out where people start to recognize it, and then you're top of mind when that moment comes. It's all about positioning the offer. If you can try to integrate some level of scarcity, that's always good because it gets them to take action more now versus waiting till later when they actually need it and they can't remember where they saw the damn ad. So it's
loss, scarcity. Yeah. Get them
So
taking action for something. Always have some special that's running out sometime soon. I mean, that's pretty easy to make happen. Hey man, I want to thank you for taking the time. I don't want to. We could talk about this subject, right? We could talk about forever in a day. They actually have conventions. Actually, they have one in Austin. I think Austin, Texas. That's pretty big. I don't remember the name of it.
Sure.
But I want you guys to go to reinvestorsummit.com/content ! Get your copy of 30 greatest lead generation tips, tricks, and ideas.
Yes.
And also go to the show notes. Tell us what else you're into. You got some coaching, or you got camp or something. What do you got going on?
Sure. I recently, as of April, took the position of the New York Marketing Association. I'm the marketing director, I took that position because it gives me a better opportunity to create better educational opportunities for small businesses. So right now we're in the process of creating a series of virtual summits, which help people to, they're all in the marketing realm. So different things that you can look at, because as you said, we could literally be here all day talking about just even one specific topic within this entire digital marketing realm. So we want to help address that and bring on some high level guys that specialize in a very specific part of these digital marketing strategies. So the virtual summits is where I'm focusing my time on, probably for the next 6 months to a year. And then of course you can engage me as a consultant because of between that, and of course going to the page that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, because you help people set up their campaigns and run campaigns and monitor their campaigns and judge their campaigns. So I want you guys to go to reinvestorsummit.com/content with an exclamation point, and that'll get you over there with all the contact information, everything about everything. We like to deliver, the content right here. And then if you want to take it a step further and want to learn more about Jimmy Newson or whatever, go over there. We'll have everything over there for you. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to stop by and get you some Jimmy Newson. And you got any little encapsulated encouragement for people who are about to jump into this digital marketing realm and are afraid to?
Yes, definitely. The key is the future. If you're not here already, you need to definitely be here. It could be a bit scary when you're first starting out. Just take it slow. Pick one thing to do, whether it's even just to jump on a social media channel and just get familiar with it. I do run across a lot of people that go, I don't have a Facebook. I'm like, well, figure out where your best customer is and get on the platform so you can understand it. You can't do anything on it if you don't understand it first.
Yes, absolutely. And none of this stuff's going to happen overnight. You don't get a college degree overnight. Why do you expect to be an expert in this thing overnight? You know what I mean? So, all right, my friends, one more time, reinvestorsummit.com/content. Get the free copy of your book, 30 Greatest Lead Generations Tips, Tricks, and Ideas. Sounds interesting to me. I'm going to go get it myself right now.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
Man, I appreciate you, Jimmy. Thanks for taking the time to come on.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Stephen.